welcome back to my channel. So I am in Peru still. I was supposed to fly out yesterday night, and because I have everything on my app, I found out that my flight got canceled. So let's talk about what do we do when our flights get canceled. So, lucky for me and my travel partner, I was with a very nice lady, and we ended up having our flight canceled. So, that disrupts everything. And right now, things like that are happening all the time. I have never experienced having a flight completely canceled. So, I'll just tell you a little bit about where I am right now. I am in a hotel that the airport, United Airlines, put us in. They paid for our hotel room and our food. And then today I decided I was going to go take a walk. I'm in the San Isidro area of Peru. It's right outside of Lima. And I went and found a Starbucks. Now, I'm an advocate of really sticking with the local fare. And I've been doing that. I've been having my plain black Americanos or my espressos, but I wanted an oat milk latte. So I found Starbucks, and I took a nice walk, and I ended up walking around the International District and saw all the different embassies, and it was really kind of fun, a beautiful area. And the homes there were really, some of them were old and just really, really cool. All right, well, let's talk about what do you do when your flight gets canceled. So I think the first thing that I want to talk about is how can you mitigate, how can you do things to try to get your flights not canceled? Well, a few things first is try to make sure to get your flights first thing in the morning. If you're the first thing in the morning, you kind of are the first on the plane. And the reason why all these flights are getting delayed, I have found out, is because there are no pilots. There's no crew. There's no, ground crew. The staffing is just really short, and everyone wants to fly. So book your flight early. I think that's going to be the best option. My flight was at like midnight. It was the last flight of that day, even though it was the next day. And so those are the flights that get bumped. The other thing is that when you're making connections, make sure you make connections where you have time. You have time in between. You don't want to cut short because there are delays. You just don't know what's going to happen with your first flight, and you want a buffer to make sure you can catch your second flight. So make sure that when you're looking for your for your connections, or if you're working with a travel agent, make sure that you get at least 2 hours. I think at least 2 hours in between flights, so that if you're an hour delayed, you could still make your second flight. At least you're trying to hedge your bets on how you can make sure that that happens. The other thing that you want to do, and this is just a little thread of advice, is just understand that this stuff is going to happen when you're traveling. So if you know that these things are going to happen, you just kind of need to just be patient and kind, and show kindness to the staffers, because once you're kind and you're not being a jerk and you're not yelling at people, you're going to get, better service, because they're exhausted too. They're working so hard. So another thing to think about, pack light. Just pack light, even if you're going to check your bags, because you want to be light on your feet if you have to make any changes. So I personally like to check in my bags. I know a lot of people like to bring their bags on the plane, which is great, but just pack light. Make sure that you just don't need a lot of stuff, really. So those are some of the things that could be really helpful too. Okay, so what do you do when your flight gets canceled? So the Department of Transportation has issued a statement, during this whole time, and I don't know how long ago, but they said that you're entitled to a refund, not just a credit, but you should be able to get your money back. And that's something that the Department of Transportation has issued to all the airlines. Now, every airline might have their own little policy, but usually if you're at the counter, and talking to a customer service agent, you probably will be able to get if it's something that they canceled. Not if it was because of the weather, not if it was because of an act of God, but if it's something that they canceled, then you're entitled to a hotel voucher and food. So for example, for me, we had to get 2 nights. To get onto our next flight, it was 2 nights. So we have 2 nights stay here, plus all of our food is accounted for, and the transportation from the hotel back to the airport is paid for. So they took care of all of that, and I got that handled at the ticket counter. But something that's really important is to make sure that when you fly an airline, well, first of all, make sure that you book your airline tickets through the airline. Don't go through Expedia and try to find the best deals. When you find those best deals, they're not going to be of service to you, because what happens is that it's a third-party provider. And I've written and I've done a video about that, but those flights end up getting on the bottom. You know, you need to make sure that you book your flight through your airline, that you have a seat, so that you actually have a seat. And so if anything happens, then the airline will be able to service you. And because you will not get any service from those third-party providers. Trust me, that's happened to me once, and I'll never make that mistake again. So once you have your flight, you make sure you download that app, because that app is going to be your protection. And you allow notifications to make sure that you can get notified of any issues. Now, I also have TripIt, and I've talked about that before. TripIt is an app that manages all of your flights, and they keep track of your flights for you as well. So TripIt will notify you, your app will notify you. And so I knew ahead of time that our flight got delayed, but I'm thinking to myself, we're almost to the airport. It was 4 hours before the plane was about to land or depart. So I was lucky enough that I was able to go in, and it was crowded and it was really busy, but I was fortunate enough that we had first class tickets. Lucky that I was able to go into the first class line. But even if you don't, you still are entitled to those benefits of hotel and food if they cancel the flight on you, or you can get a refund. Well, they were able to get us on a new flight 2 days later, and here we are. So what we've had to do is just make sure we understand that traveling during this time, and probably for the next year or two, is you just have to go with the flow. You need to give yourself some time. So if, for example, if you're going to be going on a cruise, if you're going to be going to a wedding, you might consider going a day early, so that it gives you a little bit of buffer time, so that you have an opportunity to, if something happened with your flight, it's not going to be that big of a deal to hop on another flight. Okay. And also another tip that is interesting, if you have access to like a club loyalty, like for the Delta Sky Club, or the club for the United, or any of those types, because sometimes with your credit card, like I have an American Express, a Delta American Express card, that I could pay $30 and I can get into the Delta Sky Club. And if you have access to do that, and you're already on the other side of security, and you want to make changes to your flight because your flight got canceled or your connection got disrupted, you can go into those Sky Clubs and you can talk to the counter agent there, and they can help you. And that's a really great tip, because they usually don't have as many people in line as the customer service line. So that's a little extra tip to remember. It's all about navigating and figuring out what to do, where to go, and be kind. We need to be kind in this time. We all want to travel, so give yourself extra time. Give yourself the mental attitude that says things could go wrong. And if they go wrong, am I willing to take that? And then that's how you're supposed to, travel. Be kind. Understand that those gate agents and those flight attendants and the pilots, they're all under stress as well, trying to get us to go on our vacations and have fun. But here I am, coming to you from Peru in my hotel room, and I hope that these tips have been helpful. I thought that I would take the opportunity to share my experience firsthand, since it just literally happened, and I thought I would share it with you. So you can take advantage of it and have the mentality of, I'm going to enjoy my time, even though I had to rearrange my whole entire life, but that's the way it goes, right? Okay, well, have a really great rest of your day. Thank you so much for coming by and listening to my tips. I really love sharing my experiences with you. And I hope you like and subscribe and leave a comment. Let me know what you want to talk about. And I would love to try to provide that service to you. All right? Well, ciao for now and take care. Bye.